XRP, the crypto that refuses to leave the headlines. Some people swear it's the future of global banking. Others think it's just a legal soap opera with price swings attached. And let's be real, if crypto were high school, Bitcoin would be the popular kid, Ethereum would be the artsy brainiac, and XRP would be that transfer student constantly in the principal's office, but somehow still pulling great grades. Today, we're breaking down XRP in plain English. What it is, why it matters, why it's been in court more than most celebrities, and whether it has a future in global finance. Don't worry if you're new to crypto. I'll keep things beginner-friendly, and by the end, you'll be able to explain XRP to your friends without sounding like you swallowed a blockchain dictionary. Let's dive in. First things first, let's get the names right. A lot of people say, I bought Ripple, but you didn't. You bought XRP. Ripple is the company. XRP is the cryptocurrency. Think of it like Disney and Mickey Mouse. Disney is the company. Mickey Mouse is the character. Ripple builds software to make global payments faster and cheaper. XRP is the token that helps those payments actually happen. It's important to keep that difference clear, because Ripple the company can succeed or fail as a business, while XRP lives on its own blockchain, called the XRP Ledger. So, if Ripple shut down tomorrow, the XRP Ledger would still keep running. Alright, let's talk about the problem XRP is trying to solve: moving money across borders. Now, if you've ever tried wiring money overseas, say sending dollars to Europe, you know how painful it can be. It can take 2 to 5 business days. The fees can eat up a chunk of your transfer, and if you're unlucky, the exchange rates get you too. Why? Because the system banks use today is ancient. Most global transfers rely on SWIFT, which is like a giant messaging network between banks. But it's slow, expensive, and sometimes unreliable. Imagine mailing a letter, but each bank along the way opens it, rewrites it, and mails it forward. That's SWIFT. XRP says, what if you could send value like you send an email, instantly, globally, and basically free? And that's the pitch. With XRP, transactions confirm in about 3 to 5 seconds. Fees? Just fractions of a penny. And unlike international wires, you don't need banks to manually approve and process each step. It's automated by the XRP Ledger. So in short, if SWIFT is like sending a horse and carriage, XRP wants to be the high-speed bullet train. Now, let's peek under the hood, but keep it simple. Unlike Bitcoin, XRP doesn't use mining. Unlike Ethereum, it doesn't use staking. Instead, it uses the XRP Ledger consensus protocol. Here's the easy version. You hit send. Your transaction is broadcast to the network. It gets checked by validators, which you can just think of as independent computers running the software. Within seconds, they agree it's valid. Boom, it's done. No miners competing, no huge electricity bills. It's fast, cheap, and energy efficient. This is why Ripple markets XRP as an eco-friendly digital asset. While Bitcoin's network uses as much power as some small countries, XRP's network runs light, like flipping on a laptop. Now, a criticism you'll hear is that Ripple owns a big stash of XRP, billions of tokens they periodically sell. That makes some people worry it's too centralized, or that Ripple could dump tokens and crash the price. We'll get into that risk later, but for now, remember, the XRP ledger itself runs independently, even if Ripple as a company disappeared. Okay, here's where things get juicy. You can't talk about XRP without mentioning the lawsuit. Back in December 2020, the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission sued Ripple, claiming they had been selling XRP as an unregistered security. Basically, they said, you're not just selling a crypto token, you're selling it like shares of your company. This was a massive deal. For years, exchanges in the US even delisted XRP because no one knew if it was legal to trade. Investors were left in limbo. So here's what happened in July of 2023. A judge made a pretty interesting ruling. They said that when XRP is sold on exchanges, it's not a security. But when Ripple sells it directly to big institutions, well, that's a security. So Ripple won a partial victory, and suddenly XRP was relisted on major exchanges. Prices jumped, the community cheered, and the case kept moving. Fast forward to August 2025, the battle is finally over. Ripple agreed to pay a $125 million fine. Case closed. For Ripple, that means stricter rules when they sell XRP to big institutions. For everyday people trading on an exchange, full green light, no more legal cloud. Think about that comeback, from almost being killed by regulators to now having crystal clear legal status in the US. That's like a football team losing 35-0 at halftime, and somehow still winning. And the timing couldn't be better. Under the Trump administration, regulators have gotten a little friendlier toward crypto. Lawsuits against other companies have been softened or dropped, and there's finally movement toward actual crypto legislation instead of just threats. Here's a wild twist. Earlier this year, XRP was even mentioned in a proposal for a US strategic crypto reserve alongside Bitcoin. Imagine that, just 5 years ago, XRP was practically banished from exchanges. Now it's being considered for America's official crypto stash. That's like going from being kicked out of the party to suddenly being asked to DJ. So, the question is, why does XRP have such an incredibly loyal fan base? Why are so many people die-hard believers, despite all the controversy? Well, let's run through the highlights. First off, there's speed. We're talking about transactions that confirm in just a matter of seconds. Not days, not hours, just seconds. Next, the cost. The fees are basically nothing. We're talking about fractions of a penny. Then we have scale. The network can handle thousands of transactions per second. That's a crucial factor for a project trying to process global payments. And how about being eco-friendly? No massive mining farms are burning through electricity, which makes it a much more sustainable alternative. Perhaps most important is the real use case. This isn't just a hypothetical project. It was designed to solve a real-world problem, which is fixing global payments. And last but not least, legal clarity. It survived the lawsuit and came out stronger, which gives it a rare advantage in the crypto world. So, when you add all of those points up, you can see why people are so passionate about XRP. Now, let's be balanced here, because XRP is not perfect. First, let's talk about centralization. The company, Ripple, still owns a large stash of XRP. That gives them a ton of influence, and critics argue that it makes it feel more like a corporate asset than a true community coin. Next up, you've got competition. Think about all the other players in the game. You've got stablecoins like USDC, you've got central bank digital currencies from governments, and you've got other blockchains like Stellar, Solana, and Algorand, all competing for that same global payments niche. Then there's price volatility. Even with all the incredible tech and partnerships, at the end of the day, XRP is still a crypto asset. It can swing wildly. A good headline can pump it up, but a bad headline can send it crashing down. So yeah, XRP has a ton of potential, but it's not a guaranteed win. It's kind of like buying into a sports team. They've definitely got the talent, but the game isn't over yet. Now let's talk about what most people secretly care about. Price. Back in 2018, XRP hit about $3.40. Since then, it's been a roller coaster. Crashes, rallies, sideways markets, sometimes all in the same month. Now that the lawsuit is behind it, XRP has more room to grow, but its price still depends on adoption and the overall mood of crypto. Could XRP hit $10? Some fans think so. Could it stagnate? Also possible. The reality is, no one knows. Not me, not Ripple, not that random guy on TikTok promising XRP to $100. The truth is, XRP's long-term price depends on whether it really gets adopted at scale for payments. Now, let's compare XRP to the big dogs. Bitcoin is digital gold, a store of value. Ethereum is a global app platform, the internet's app store. XRP wants to be the Visa or Swift of crypto, fast global payments. They're not trying to solve the same problem. That's why XRP isn't competing directly with Bitcoin's narrative as digital gold. Instead, it's competing with payment systems. So what's next for XRP? Ripple is doubling down on partnerships with banks, payment processors, and even central banks. With legal clarity in the US, they can finally focus on adoption instead of courtroom drama. And here's the big vision. If central banks keep rolling out digital currencies, XRP could serve as the bridge asset that connects them. Imagine a world where dollars and euros all flow across borders in seconds using XRP as the middleman. Will it happen? That's the trillion-dollar question. But what's clear is this: XRP has survived its biggest test and is now better positioned than it's been in years. If this video helped you understand XRP, hit that like button and subscribe for more beginner-friendly crypto explainers.